Said VSAT. VSAT with earnings tomorrow. SNGX, that was the Momo stock this morning that's falling apart. All right, TMDX looks pretty good relative strength. Yeah, I was actually looking at that last week, and this is actually a pretty nice setup in Transmedics. It's broke above the 50-day moving average this morning. Got a bit of a room up to about 145. That's a nice setup on TMDX right here. See this big volume as it on Thursday pulled down and bounced, and then Friday, remember the big market sell-off on Friday? This held up really, really well right off the 15, and there's your gap up this morning, right through the 50-day moving average. Good volume, trying to move up. It's got some resistances. We leveled up here. This has been one that I can spot it quickly right here is the resistance right there on the top of that red candle. 135.51 is going to be a resistance level there. If I go over to my volumes, that's going to show up right there. $31.42 will be a resistance. This will be a resistance. This was a gap. This in here. Here's where we are this morning right now. So we got some room up here. This comes across the top of that candle, the bottom of that candle, pretty close to the top of that candle, 134. So the 134 and then 145. Good morning, Evan. Good morning. Suzanne, Adobe for a put debit spread. Can I comment on the sell price percentage on Monday? Yeah, typically I look for around 10 to 15%, maybe 20. Depends on how fast the stock moves. You got to watch the price action. But you know, if you can get 15 or 20% on Monday, that's very good. Gaurav, what do I think about a TMC strangle? Yeah, it's not too bad. ATR is 67 cents. Yeah, ATR is about 67 cents. Depends what you have to pay for it. Today's change at 122. It doesn't really. Um, it's down about a quarter. I don't know. I'd have to look at the prices on it to see if it would justify it. Like I said, I'm the 555 for 58 cents. Well, it's trading at 563, so you wouldn't want to take a 555, a 550 and a 5. You would, if it gets around 575, you would want to take a 550 and a 6. Mike, do you have a support level of 338 in Adobe? Do I have anything besides that? Let me see what I've got for Adobe. There's quite a bit of candlestick action in Adobe below here. I've got one around 342, and then another one around 340. There's the real support level is down around 333 on Adobe. There's a lot of candlesticks with high volume mixed in here, so it's difficult to spot a really good one when you have this kind of action here. A lot of high volume candlesticks in here. Bullish high volume, bearish high volume, but I would say all the way down here is the main, and you've got some right through here. You're not getting a lot of touches here. Notice how it's formed in the middle of candles, so that's not great support or resistance level. You're looking for multiple candles like that one there with a double bottom. I drew here, but these are really not that impressive. So that's why I like it short. I don't know that any of these are going to hold. Suzanne, you bought this week's 345, 340 for $1.62, and you're a sucker for taking profits when you see green. Well, I mean, listen. Mondays, obviously, your profitability is going to be limited just because of the potential. But I would certainly watch it for today. I wouldn't just take it off at 15%. I would wait. You might get a flush on Adobe today. The market flushes down. The Adobe might flush down. You might be able to get 40% on that thing. So you have to use your judgment on those kind of things. Shiv, you took the Adobe put debit spread 345, 340, in at $1.63 out at 205. That's pretty nice. And it's $1.63 and out at 205. 40 cents on $1.16 on $1.60. That's obviously about probably what 25, almost 30%. Yeah, that's a nice trade right there. Spy's not going anywhere here. You can see. Adobe's still coming in though. Adobe's a nice short setup. Still a nice short setup. You can see Nvidia starting to move up a little bit as well. But this is a pretty boring market here right now. Gap up and just moving sideways. Mr. K-Man, good morning. Good morning. Mr. K-Man over in the YouTube room. Again, anybody in the YouTube room or anybody anywhere who's looking to buy the software and join the room, they've got a really special deal right now on Lifetime. I think it's $2,400. I can't remember exactly, but for the room and for the software forever. It's an excellent deal for anybody who's interested in participating in the room or even just getting the software. The software, which is a SPY Super System software, to let you know whether institutions are in the trade or not. It's a backbone of what I do as far as the trades that we take, and that's the backbone of the profitability we've had. July, which was an exceptionally good month. Let's be honest, it's not a normal month. We had 30 wins, 3 losses, $2,000 put in each trade, made almost $17,000. Really excellent month. But again, this is the backbone of it. This is SPY software, the SPY Super System software that you can get right now, and access to the room for a lifetime for I think $2,400. You just call Rory at 786-732-4656, and he'll tell you what he can do for you. All right, so again, I'm just watching this market here. I did take NVIDIA for swing. That's about it. For time spreads, what do I use to look at percentage of times a stock it did not make the expected move over earnings? Yeah, it's a friend of mine has a site that I use, and that's where I get the percentage number of times that it beats. I've never really been able to find it anywhere else. There may be some software out there, that you can get that information, but yeah, I don't know. Omar, tell us what you did on your birthday and all weekend. I've deserved it. Thanks, Omar. I appreciate that. I didn't do much. I did a webinar on Saturday. A really long webinar. I had a lot of people, and we spent a lot of time answering lots and lots of questions. Went over the July results, etc. But yeah, we had my daughter and my wife here. My wife made me some chocolate cupcakes, my favorite thing in the world, and we had that with some ice cream, and that was it. It was a very relaxing weekend. And we cooled off here finally. Saturday and Sunday, we were back down in the low 80s. We've had heat indexes in Charleston of between 110 and 115 for over a week, and today it's not even 80. So this is a great relief. Thanks, Roger. I had a good birthday. Looking through the options for the potential for uh, time spreads for tonight, but I don't see anything that has any kind of differential as far as the implied volatility is concerned that would justify taking a trade. Very compressed market here. There's Adobe still coming in. Very good short Adobe was. Talked about that from early on today. Nvidia starting to move up here. It's Chewy, definitely a good short as well. Again, the market's going sideways. It's just not showing anything. The T2104 looks just like the VOLD does over here. It is a bullish, green bullish. So moving up, and it's also green. So it's very strong today. The T2104 is as well. It's the T2104 right here on TC2000, 5-minute chart. VOLD over here. Just moving right up. Very strong momentum pegged right here at the high. Harry pointing out APLS, good relative strength. Probably has to break the 200. Yeah. Yeah, it probably does. I mean, this is APLS right here. Pretty strong move on this Biotech earnings here. Moving up straight through this horizontal resistance. There's the 200 right there. There's fairly strong resistance level right here. Adobe still coming down. And Adobe debit spread, as we talked about, is really working very well here. William, Adobe was a great call out. Yeah, it worked beautifully. Adobe was, again, it was weak this morning when the market was strong. It had a very, very weak daily chart. Again, that's all I did was look at the daily chart on Adobe. Let's look at it here. This is where we ended up on Friday. And if we switch to the 5-minute chart, here's Adobe today. Right, here's the open this morning. Here's the market gapping up, and then just moving pretty strong. Look what Adobe's doing while the market's doing that, compressing, and then ripping down, very weak. So again, if I look at the daily chart, this was the stock that was short. Today it was relatively weak, even when it was slightly up this morning. It was relatively weak, and then this is what happened. And it's not unexpected, but when it was a nice trade. Chewy, the same thing. And again, we're long NVIDIA. NVIDIA looks beautiful on the daily chart. I mean, that's what we're going by here. We're going by this daily chart. And haven't done any intraday trades yet today. Roger, taking a look at using AI to try to look at the earnings estimates. It's not the estimates that what you're looking for is you're looking to see what the stock did, what the move was. It's got nothing to do with earnings. It has to do with what the expected move is and what the move is. That what you're comparing here is the price move, percentage-wise, compared to what the expected price move was going to be. It doesn't have anything to do with what the earnings were. Just remember that. What the earnings were has nothing to do with it. Ram Kumar, in general, if the stock is a resistance support level, would a straddle be favorable before earnings if other criteria are met? No, it wouldn't, because here's the problem, all right? The key with doing straddles and strangles is how much you pay for them. Okay, you want to pay something well less than the ATR, all right, the average true range. But now you throw in earnings, all right? Earnings blows technicals all out of the water. The technicals don't mean anything when earnings comes out. So the market makers are going to jack up the premiums, which means 99 times out of 100 you're going to be overpaying for straddle or a strangle when over earnings, because it's going to have to beat what their expected move is by a lot to justify taking a straddle or a strangle, and that doesn't happen very often. So absolutely not. The only thing that you can take for in my opinion, for over earnings that you have a chance of making decent money on and having consistently profitable is a time spread where you're harvesting the volatility crush after earnings come out. Palantir options are very expensive, expecting a huge move. Let's see what the expected move is in Palantir. Well, the average move on Palantir is 17%. The expected move is 13%. But the implied volatility difference between this week's is 115, next week's 88. It's a tiny little difference. Again, I don't know what the deal is here, but they're expecting about a 13% move. So yeah, they're gonna price the premiums relatively high, but not compared to what it usually does. But there just isn't enough IV um, crushed potential to justify the trade, in my opinion. Hindsight said I should have traded Adobe. Yeah, it's so easy, isn't it? That hindsight stuff. Time spread is the same thing as a calendar spread. Yes. Time spread is a calendar spread. It's just specific. It's a specific construction that we call it a time spread over earnings. We're selling this week's call and buying next week's call. Calendar spreads can have different, they can have different expiration dates, etc., than what you do with the time spread. But so we call it a time spread. And a lot of platforms actually, if you put it in there, they'll tell you it's a time spread. All right, Adobe kind of flattening out here. So if you took a debit spread on it and you got 15, 20, 25, 30%, take the money. Really, really flat market here after this mag gap up this morning. And nice bullish move this morning. Right now, we're still listening. It's still bullish. There isn't any question about it. But we're just not moving very fast here right now. So I wouldn't be messing around with trades on the indexes right now. I'd be looking for particular stocks. Again, I still like Nvidia for long here. And I still like Adobe short, although it's gone down quite. It's getting a little extended at this point. Adobe still weak here. I had a spread on Adobe. It took Friday. I forgot. I had a debit spread on for Friday. I put debit spread. I think I took it close to the end of the day. I had the 347.50, 345 that I took Friday. Anyway, I just closed it for a 70% profit. I'm sorry about that. I forgot I had it on. I just looked at my platform and something clicked and it went off, and there it was. I had set it. I paid $1 for it. I had put a sell order in at $1.70. Again, I did it on Friday, so I was much too interested in my SPY puts that I've got, which are obviously getting clobbered today. SPY still moving up here. Still bullish market. I mean, no matter how you slice this, the market is bullish today, and it's moved up through the 15, and it's coming up toward the 8 exponential moving average right now in the SPY. I don't mind having NVIDIA as a swing long. I wouldn't want to have a lot of swing longs right now, but I do like NVIDIA here. Meta's bouncing up too. Meta's got a really weird technical setup on it, because of the way because of what happened on earnings, and then the big pullback in the market. It has this move right up here with a doji after earnings like that, and then down hard on Friday, and now coming back to fill this gap today. So I don't feel anywhere near as positive about taking Meta as I do about NVIDIA with this pullback. Amazon pretty weak. Again, went right to that support level and bounced. Google looking pretty good here. Very similar to the setup on NVIDIA. Again, I'm still at IBB. These are September calls. Moving up pretty nicely. Coin, just not doing much of anything here this morning. Tesla, just putting in a doji. NVIDIA popping out of compression. Eric points out. And high of the day. That's always good news. Yep. NVIDIA, again, I take the daily chart. I love the daily chart. This is a beautiful daily chart. We know what the market did on Thursday and Friday, but the NVIDIA held up nicely on the 15, bounced above it, and we got more buying coming in again today. Nothing's 100%, but that's a pretty nice, solid setup, especially in such an unsure market right now. The SPY also jumping here like crazy. It's a pretty big move in the SPY. Electric out with a statement on Tesla. Says Tesla withheld data, lied, and misdirected police and plaintiffs to avoid blame in the autopilot crash. This news stuff can be pretty. And look what Tesla's doing off of that. It's a doji Morningstar in NVIDIA, are we pointing out? Yeah, it is. It's a Morningstar, if you know what a Morningstar is. It's a doji followed by a Morningstar, but this is that's what they call a Morningstar. It's a pattern where they have evening stars and morning stars. This is a Morningstar, and you're pulling down and now it's moving up bullishly. I just call it a PBO, but they do have a Morningstar. I have a big chart on the wall in my office here with all the different candlestick patterns on it, and there's Morningstars on there. Should you go back to sleep with this price action QA? You might have asked that before this last burst here in the market. And NVIDIA is going with it. Trying to get Alfie out? Yeah, come on. Alfie. Come on, buddy, you gotta go pee. Come on, you gotta go pee. Come on. Let's go. Okay, let's go pee. I know it's raining. I know it's raining. You gotta pee. You gotta pee. Go in, pee. Long pee. Very long pee. That was a long pee. That's it. Here's it. There's your cookies. There's your cookies. Had a little quick pop in the market. Putting in a inverted hammer here right now. Both of them, Q's and the SPY. NVIDIA probably did the same thing. Yeah, it's more of a doji for NVIDIA. Tesla on bad news bouncing. And NVIDIA's doing pretty nicely here. Let's see. We get in around 790, 795. Right now it's trading at 838, so it's up about 40 cents, 50 cents, about 50 cents on NVIDIA.
Just looking.
Yeah, look at him. He won't eat those cookies. Those are the cookies you got.
You won't eat them?
Well, he'll eat them, but
Oh, you'll eat
they aren't his favorites. There you go.
them. Yeah, I thought they were.
Changes, who knows? He took a long pee.
I can't. Can you? Still raining.
Oh, it's raining. Yeah, he was out there, but he had to go. He was just.
Look at him looking at me.
I know.
What is it? What? Are you afraid? Huh? What's wrong with you? Huh? What did you mean to do? Bet you'd like one of these, huh? I want to go back to my
I'm
crib.
gonna go back to my crib.
What is wrong with it?
You're locking me out of there.
Yeah. Nope. He'll come back.
Hmm?
He should come back. No. Not interested.
He'll come back and get him.
I hope so. Yeah. Just ran away from us. We're fine. See that.
All right. see if we have any more questions here. It's about 12:05. Staff for lunch here. Whoa, got a bunch of them here. Because Ram Kumar, because I didn't have the market to help me with Adobe Short, I couldn't take it. No, I could have taken it. As it turned out, I had one on from Friday and I forgot about it. I had a debit spread. I put debit spread on it for Friday. So this one it was still very good this morning. This is one of the scenarios where I was happy not being in the trade. Since I actually was in the trade, I'm okay. But I could have taken it this morning easily. There was no reason not to take it. The market was strong, which means you were trading against it, but it was very, very weak. And if you take a debit spread that allows you the rest of the week on it, I would have had no problem taking that at all. No, in hindsight, I think it was would have been good to take it. Adobe, $1.50 profit on that explosive move down, William. Quick work, yeah, that was a nice one. Mayank took an experimental time spread in Adobe for the explosive move down, 240, maximum risk 245. I mean, you could do a you could do you did a time spread. I don't know. You talking about? Are you talking about a straddle or a strangle? You took a time spread on Adobe. Mayank, is that right? You're talking about something you would normally do over earnings. You took on Adobe today. You sold the call for this week and bought a call for next week. I'm not sure that's what you mean. William, Adobe PDS was 40% less than an hour. Yeah, on a Monday, that's outstanding. Outstanding. Gilbert, how can somebody day trade with a capital of less than 25,000 without breaking PDT rules? You set yourself up as a cash account. You set up as a cash account, so you don't have any margin. So you're only trading with cash. Now, here's the thing with a cash account: if you buy an option today and sell it this afternoon, the profits that you get or the money that you get when you sold that option at the end of the transaction won't go back into your account till the next day, most likely. It's at least one day later. So once you use a cash account, once you've used up all your cash for the day, even if you've closed out those trades, you have to wait the next day trade. But you don't have any PDT rules, so you can take intraday trades as many as you want, as long as your account is a cash account. You just don't set. You have to change it to a cash account, not a margin account, which means you're only trading with the money that you've got in your account. You have no extra margin to trade with. Am I looking at the open of last Thursday as a reasonable resistance for NVIDIA 182.90? Well, I haven't thought an awful lot about it yet, but that obviously was an all-time high. So there's going to be some resistance at an all-time high. I don't know how much. I'll wait. If it goes all the way up to that level from where we are right now, I'll likely be out of the trade. I mean, that's a pretty big move, and if it gets there today or tomorrow or the next day, we'll take profits in it. That's the all-time high, and it could turn around and keep going through there. But you've got earnings at 827, so this will probably be the last trade I'll take on NVIDIA until after earnings. But I don't know. I may not. I may take another one. But that's a definitely, obviously it's a reasonable place to expect resistance, because everybody who bought up there at the all-time high and then it went against them is probably going to be bailing at the all-time high, even though they shouldn't be. You're looking for a reduction in the IV and Adobe by doing that? Yeah, I don't know. I've not, I've not done that with non stocks that are non-earning stocks, because earnings that moves the implied volatility quite a ways up. You gotta find something that's going to reduce the implied volatility in Adobe. The only thing that would be is if the stock starts to move sideways. You get some decay like that. and you get some implied volatility coming down as the stock now moves sideways. But I've never done that, and I haven't got any stats on trying to do something like that, so I wouldn't try it. Personally, I wouldn't try it. If I was going to try it, I'd have to do a, you're right here now. You're trying to find stocks that have got an high implied volatility because of some moves that they're making, which typically means that you should probably do a straddle or a strangle on them if they're making way outsized moves, so that you can capture something pretty quickly. But trying to anticipate that the implied volatility is going to come down quickly enough to justify the trade, I would have to test it. I would have to test something like that. But this sold this week's 340s and bought next week's 340s. Okay, 245. I'll be very interested to see how it works. No real weakness in the market here today at all. Yes, I hesitated at the 15 EMA for about an hour. Now it's almost back up to the 8. By the way, Mike, I was looking at the volatility, implied volatility on Adobe. This week's implied volatility right now on Adobe on the 340 puts is 33.8, 34. It's 34. This week's implied volatility is 34. Next week's implied volatility is 31. All right, 31. So you have about 10% of difference in implied volatility, which is not a lot from one week to the next. So just again, I'd be cautious, but again, I'm very interested to see how that works, because you're assuming this big implied volatility is jacked up because of the move in the stock, but the option chains tell a different story as far as that implied volatility is concerned. Adobe up to 850 now. Up about 60 cents on that. About 12.14 right now. You have a target, Mike, of about 12%. Okay, all right. When I see a setup like Adobe, to me, the debit spread looks like the way to go. But again, you're trying to catch some volatility change. I'm just trading the actual price action on the stock. But anyway, I'm out of that one. I hit it from Friday, didn't even know it. I took a nice 70% profit on this morning with. Forgot that I actually had it on. And our SPY is going to be worthless, by the way. that's worthless right on the open this morning, and the market has not done anything in our favor. So unless we get some sort of miraculous pullback today, that's dead. As I said on Friday, after a month like we had in July, 30 wins and 3 losses, you got to tread cautiously because a lot of times when you have a big run like that, even subconsciously even you start taking maybe more trades than you should, maybe taking more risk than you should. Your confidence is jacked up to the moon, and you think you can do no wrong, and the market comes in and slaps you right across the face and says, "Oh yes, you can." So I'm trying to keep my my expectations in check here. You made $2 on Adobe puts. Hit the target before you could move it. Yeah, that was still, but that's a good trade, Mike. That's a nice trade. Don't make it sound like that wasn't a great trade. It was a great trade. So, just you take the money. Yeah, but you listen. We all can have second guesses when we get out of things. I should have stayed in. I should have got out sooner. I shouldn't have taken the trade. But you took a good trade. You took it in the right direction, and you made money on it. You did the right thing, and you did a good job. About 12:15. I'm going to eat about 12:30. Have some lunch. And the market's still grinding here. I get another leg up and then more compression. Nvidia is just grinding higher. And Adobe grinding down. Now we're just compressing. Getting a little blue momentum here, but it's not really going anywhere. Notice how VOLD, our market internal, is still showing bullish. T2104, bullish. Other than Adobe for a short, that was a very nice short. But you got to be careful, otherwise you're going to be trading against the market with shorts right now. I thought Adobe was a good setup because as a debit spread, because it gave you the rest of the week if you needed it to take profits on it. You probably took profits already, but if it went against you, you had the rest of the week. Jonathan, I made a good point. It's often been found the traders' biggest losses come directly after the biggest wins. And it's absolutely right. Reducing size or even taking a little time off seems to be to help folks. Absolutely, and that's really important. Um, I mean, I've been in this business long enough to know that I've suffered through those situations before, and you feel like you can not do no wrong, but you feel really confident. Our July was, listen, you have to look at this in the context of what day trading or even short-term swing trading is like, and we maintain an 85%, 86, 87% win rate, but we have a 91% win rate in July, which is those are not stats that you can just do every single month. 30 wins and 3 losses. This is not something that you can depend on repeating month after month after month. I know that. I mean, I know what I can do, and I know what I've been doing for years, and I know that was an excellent month, especially the profitability. 2,000 into a trade for almost $17,000. That is a good month, and so you've got to try to keep your expectations under control and keep your risk down going into August. I said that on Friday. I took some puts on the SPYs, but we're going to be very, very cautious here moving forward for a bit until we can get a good read on the market. So that's what I did. Evan, yeah, you play. Evan says you're going to clip them. What a sound of me saying you took a good trade, you took it at the right direction, you made money on it, you did the right thing, you did a good job. Give yourself some credit when you make a good trade. Don't turn in your mind. Don't turn the winning trade into a losing trade because you didn't take all the profit you should have got. You're never going to take all the profit you should have got. You made a good trade. Taking good trade and making money on it. Sure, you can say I should have stayed in longer, and you have to look at what made you get out, or et cetera, and you've got to analyze those kind of things. But for God's sakes, don't turn this into a negative in your mind when you made profit on a nice trade. NVIDIA is just grinding higher here. Again, beautiful daily chart on NVIDIA. But the SPY's not hurting. The SPY's helping out here. SPY's pushing longs. That's why Adobe's was such a good trade, because it's going against the market, but it had a tremendously bearish daily chart, and we had a whole week on the debit spread, and it paid off really nice, handsomely, I think, for people who took it today. Again, I took it Friday and forgot that I had it on, and I took 70% profit on it this morning. But I know people that are getting 30 and 40% on it today already. Going in on a debit spread on Monday and getting 30 and 40% is extraordinarily good. Typically, you can only get about 10 to 15% on a Monday on a debit spread that expires on Friday. Really, no significant weakness in the market at all today. We had a few red candles and things, but this is the pattern in the SPYs: gap up and grind higher. And it's coming right up on the 8 exponential moving average in the daily chart, which again is a likely be a resistance level. And then we've got the gap close from Thursday, which is at 630.77. About $1 from here will get us above the 15. Get us above the gap from from Thursday's close, or basically Thursday's low, and it's almost right on the 8 exponential moving average. So that's going to be a very interesting level to see what the market does when it gets there. If there's going to be any kind of a pullback in the market, there's likely to be enough resistance there to cause it. And if it doesn't, it just might blow right through it. And this whole pullback just may be a temporary temporary pullback, and off of that jobs report, and the market just says, okay, no, we're going higher again, turns around and heads up for a new all-time high. We don't know what it's going to do yet, but it was very ugly looking candle Thursday and Friday, the worst it's looked since the tariffs were put on and then taken off back in April. We've been in a very nice bull run. Thursday and Friday ended that, at least the move to the upside that was consistent. Now we're getting a little bit of a pullback, and we'll see if it's just a small breather and it keeps moving. Now I took NVIDIA because I think NVIDIA will do well anyway, unless we get a tremendous pullback in the market. I think a neutral market or a sideways market, NVIDIA will do well. All right, I'm getting ready to eat. I want to thank all the YouTube folks for being here today. I mentioned a couple times today that Rightline right now, which is where you buy the software from, the Spy Super System software right here, and you get into my room and my alert service, etc. They're doing a pretty special deal here on my room and the software. My room and the Spy Super System software. Lifetime on this thing. I think it's around $2,400. I don't quote me exactly, but it's a rough there. $2,400 for lifetime on the software and lifetime on the room. And this software is really, really, I mean, I use it obviously all the time, but this is a big, huge advantage that you've got over other retail traders. And we use it along with the relative strength, relative weakness, market internals, etc., to be able to make money every single month, which we've been doing. We had one losing month last September. That was the only losing month we've had probably in 3 years, 2.5 years. But please don't expect that you're going to have results like July every month. I don't want to downplay how well we traded on July. 30 wins, 3 losses is a great record, and we do maintain about an 85 to 88% win rate, which is excellent. But July was really an extraordinarily good month. I mean, $17,000 profit is a big profit for $2,000 on a trade. It's really, really a lot. And we did have that strangle on Sarepta, which paid about 116%, which was pretty good, or 160%. I forget what it was, but it was a big move. But the consistency was pretty amazing, and this is what drives our results. Being able to see what the institutions are doing is a huge advantage. I think I do some pretty good technical analysis as well, but it doesn't do good to do technical analysis if you don't know what the institutions are doing. Do I risk the same amount in SPY trades as stock trades when I post them in the sticky notes? I do, Thomas. I do, and when I put the results in, this one here and the results for the month of August is going to probably be 100% loss. We had one of those in July as well. You have losses. Let's be honest. We have losses. Everybody does. With the alert, what was the amount lost for the month? Don't recall. It was bad. Which month are you talking about, Doug? If you're talking, the month I had a losing trade was in a losing trade, not a losing month, was September of 2024. We lost $1,700. Last September. A little over $1,700 in the room, and the alert service was down $295. That's the only losing month that I remember. I mean, I've had losing months in the last 4 years or something, but recently that was the only one last year. We haven't had any this year. And I've been trading a long time, and I've been in a lot of rooms. I know how difficult this is to be consistently profitable all the time. You see a lot of videos and a lot of people telling you how good and easy it is to do and how they do this pattern. Get in on Monday, get out on Monday afternoon. You follow this thing. Listen, it's not easy like that. I can tell you right now, this is not easy. What we do here is not easy. But we do have the tools, and we have the tools and the information that we need to beat all these other retail traders. That's who we're beating here. Don't remember, we're not beating the institutions. We're taking this money from other retail traders who don't have the same information and the same knowledge that we do. That's what we're doing. But this is, make no mistake, the market is tough. It's very dynamic. Right now it's news driven. It's very hard to trade. And, unless you do this all the time, so a lot of times you don't realize how difficult it is to maintain winning month after winning month after winning month after winning month. If you've been doing it yourself, you know probably how hard it is. It is not easy. William D.E. bid of us for the worst. Yeah, in September 2024. You think you added to it the loser on the way down? Yeah, I don't know if I did or not. It's possible. Ramkumar, well, I place the highest importance on price action. Does seasonal weakness in August give you the reason to trade half size or quarter size during this period? No. I reduce my risk when the market's really choppy, and I increase my risk when the market is trending. But I can't do that in my results because that's subjective. All right, you're subjectively raising and lowering what you place on a trade based on how you read the price action in the market. But I can't do that for results. I've got to have something flat that I can use for results. But like I'm not going to be reducing my how much I invest in a trade in August based on seasonality. No. I mean, August is usually a choppy month or a weak month because of the fact that there's no Fed, there's no Congress, but we're still going to get a lot of news. And I just look at the market when I have a nice market moving the direction I want. Then I'm going to keep my how much I put on a trade at about the same level. And if it's really grinding up nicely, I'll probably take larger size. If it's choppy, I'll take smaller size. That's how I look at it. I don't take seasonality into consideration because listen, seasonality, if the market's weak in August, does that mean every day in August is going to be weak so you shouldn't trade as much? No, it doesn't. The institutions taking money from other institutions are mostly retail traders. That's both, Gary. Institutions take some from other institutions. They take a lot from retail traders. Listen, if they're in the trade and we know they're in the trade and other retail traders are going against them, who do you think they're taking their money from? Because when we see institutions in a trade, you have to remember, a majority of the institutions are trading in the same direction at the time, which means anything, they're going long, and there's some retail traders that are trying to pick the top and going short. Who do you think they're taking their money from? But it isn't us. All right, I'm going to get some lunch. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to shut down the YouTube feed, so we'll be back again on Tuesday in the morning, about 11:15. Thanks very much for being here. If you have any interested in the software, Spy Super System software to let you know if institutions are in the trade. Like I said, it's the backbone of what we do here, and also my room. That's also. So if you call Right Line, they'll give you the deal on that. All right? And there's his number right there. 786-732-4656. Okay? And I'll shut down YouTube and I'm going to get some lunch. Have a good afternoon, everybody.